So let's talk about media and managing your content in ProPresenter 7. So first of all, we're going to show you how to import some media, some different options there, and then we'll use that media to create different layers. Now we've talked a little bit about layers already, but a really brief overview is that ProPresenter 7 works in layers. So different layers can take priority over other layers. For example, your text in a song is one layer, and the video that might go behind that is another layer altogether. So together that's two layers, and they make up the different layering that is in ProPresenter 7. And there are other ways that you can do layering as well. So let's jump in and we'll show you layering, we'll show you how it works, and we'll show you how to use media. So here down the bottom you have the background and the foreground. Now these are just named as it comes. You can rename them. I suggest you do, because it doesn't matter which content you put in, it's going to do the same thing in these folders to start off with. So for this, I'm going to just rename this to my media folder, and I'm going to rename my foreground one to my let's call this one videos. This is where I might put my church news, my pre-roll, that kind of stuff. Now these are just for this demo purpose. We could probably rename it something more applicable for your own use. So we've just renamed those for now. Now firstly, let's go and add a new playlist or a smart playlist. Now this is two different things. A new playlist would add another one of these kind of folders, is what you'd probably call it as well. A smart playlist will actually read a folder off your computer and automatically pull in the content from that folder. So let's go and do a smart playlist, and I'll show you what that means. So if we click on smart playlist, it brings up a Finder window. Here you can see on my desktop I've already made one folder. It's called PP7 files. Now I've got a few different videos and pictures in that. So if I click on this and I go OK, it's going to automatically pull that content into ProPresenter. Now this is a really handy function. However, there are some drawbacks to it. First of all, if you link this to a cloud drive, which is constantly syncing, those files both appear and disappear. So it's great to get them there quickly, but if someone is to remove that file from that cloud drive, that file will also disappear out of your ProPresenter 7 files. So just be aware of that when you're linking folders like this. So for this, the other way I can do it, I can also bring files. If I go to my PP7 files, so on my desktop here, I've got Energy Ball, Salvation, MC Color. So I can bring in my Energy Ball into media, and it just appears there. Now we'll deal with the other files later, but here, if you notice, I've brought in Energy Ball, it's in my media folder or playlist, and at the bottom you see this little arrow going around. That means loop. Now by native standard in ProPresenter, any video you bring in will automatically be set to loop. Now quite often you might want to change this. If it's a pre-roll, if it's a church news, or any type of presentation video, you do not want it to loop. So if you just quickly right click, it'll bring up all different video options for you here. And first of all, let's quickly run through these. You've got behavior. So that's a background or a foreground. If it's a background, it will go behind layers. So text, other things would appear over the top. If it's a foreground, it will automatically go over the top of everything else you have running, which means that any video you want to present, you would want to set that as a foreground. This one, it's just a bit of media. I'm going to leave it as a background, and I can show you what that does. If we go to scaling, it's automatically set to scale to fit, which is what I want. If I was going to go scale to fill or stretch to fill, that will change how my video is seen on the screen. So scale to fill will scale the video up without stretching it to the point where it fills the screen. So if my video is the correct resolution, that's fine. If it's not the correct resolution, you'll end up with black bars on the top or the sides of your video. Stretch to fill will actually literally just stretch the video, so it will warp it and it won't look great. So there are occasions where these can be handy, but always try and do scale to fit. That's your best option to start with. Playback. So here we've got stop. So stop is the one we'll stop at the end. Currently set to loop, and there's a new function in ProPresenter 7 called soft loop. So if you have a video that you want to loop but it's not made properly and it doesn't quite loop properly at the end, you can go soft loop, and ProPresenter will actually help you with that looping function and add a bit of a timer delay into that end and fade that transition before the video quite finishes. So that's a good workaround if there's an issue with the end of the video or something like that. And then you've got next cue. So that's actually a cue that automatically triggers at the end of the video. So when the video finishes, it can do something else at the end of that. So you could trigger the next video, you could trigger a random video. There's other bits and pieces you can work with there as well. So we'll leave the rest for now. There's a few other bits and pieces we can go more into detail later, but this is the crux of what using your media bin is. This is what you normally do. You might just change the loop or something like that, or the automatic transition on it or something like that at the end. So if we've got our video in, let's have a look at what that looks like. So we can play it straight out of here, and that will, you can see in an output window, we have our video playing, you know, well, happy days, good to go. If you click a video in your video bin, it will play automatically. Always try to put it in a playlist, because if you put it into a playlist, which I don't have one open, but let's open one here, Sunday AM, I can drag my video into my playlist. What happens is I get a play button, which means that I get a bit of a notification I'm about to press play on a video. If I'm just scrubbing through in a service, clicking around down here, what's happening is I'm actually making stuff go live immediately, and it can be very dangerous. So it's great when you're setting up, but if you're live in a show, I recommend you do not use the media bin to fire videos under any circumstances, if at all possible. So here we've just done a quick little playlist as we made before. Got a little energy ball there. It's a 20-second video and it's set to loop. So that will do what it's meant to do. And the next thing we can do is look at the different layers and how that works with images and stuff like that. So we're actually going to look at some PNG layers, and I'll take you through how layering a PNG and also layering a image behind that can work. And this is how we actually set up our service to work very, very quickly.